The Denver Nuggets, they just keep on winning. Winners, excuse me, of 10 of the last 12 games. Nuggets are on a roll. The team is moving. Jokic refuses to shoot. Let's talk about all that and more here. Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Y'all, welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper, y'all. Number one, thank y'all so much for being here. 2024 is among us. Now, I was thinking about this episode. There's been a lot that happened in 2023. We're going to spend some time going over that because you know what? This was probably one of the best basketball years of my life. I know for a lot of y'all that this was an incredible year all the way around. So we're going to talk about that, talk about the great memories that we had this year. But we got to talk into the Charlotte Hornets game. So the Denver Nuggets, they end up getting into this game with the Charlotte Hornets, where it's 49 to 49.5. The funny part about this is to start the game off, Joker basically decided that this is a game that he was not going to shoot. He was going to protest. This isn't the game he's going to put up a lot of shots for whatever reason. Now, here's the thing. We're going to talk about in the second segment kind of what he's been doing the last 15 game or so that's really affecting his usage rate. Efficiency's crazy, but he's just not been shooting the ball. But today, the Denver Nuggets, last night, they won 111 to 93. Jokic, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Jamal Murray, 25 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. Jamal Murray's been playing really freaking good lately. Had a stinker versus OKC, comes back versus Charlotte, and goes absolutely crazy. Aaron Gordon, first game back after having the whole injury, obviously, with the dog fighting and the dog in terms of biting him. And it was ended up being his own dog. It was a Rottweiler that had in the house. You know, everything should be okay. Nothing crazy, not crazy injuries. Hopefully they got that stuff taken care of. Obviously, he's back. And then Michael Porter Jr., 22 points, 8 rebounds for Michael Porter Jr. Played 31 minutes, most among the starters. Was a plus 33 in this game as well. KCP, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. So here's the thing. The starters, when they've gotten a chance to play this year, they've honestly been lights out for most of the year. They just have a cohesion. They have the ability to play together. There are so many things that they're able to do that once they put the pedal to the metal, they honestly just reach a ceiling that I would just say that not many teams, if anybody else in the NBA, can get to. So the starters on the year, they have gotten a chance to play a good bit of games together so far now. On the season, the Denver Nuggets starters have played 16 games together. They have a 127.3 offensive rating, a 106.6 defensive rating for a plus 20.8 net rating. Plus 20.8 with a 62% true shooting. They have been going insane all year. And you got a chance to continue to see that, man. Like, they come out in the first half. The team is kind of like going through the motion a little bit. Jamal Murray, first quarter, takes a lot of shots, takes 8 shots, I believe, goes 4 of 8 from the field. I think he has 11 points, 11 of the 22 points the Denver Nuggets had at one point in time. And the game just started off like, we're playing versus the Charlotte Hornets on New Year's. We know we can get this team, so we're just going to kind of like get into the motion a little bit. And before you know it, the Charlotte Hornets were tied with the Nuggets at half. The Denver Nuggets won the third quarter 40-17. They won the quarter 40-17. They hit 11 of 11 free throws in that quarter. And then on top of that, they won 89-66 in that quarter. You know, they gave up 17 points. The last time they played Charlotte in the third quarter, they scored 30 points. Charlotte only scored 9. So this was a continuance of what you saw in that first game. And you got the chance to see the levels to this team, the way they're able to hit their stride. It just doesn't match. I really am very glad to see that the starting unit in particular they have just continued to get more and more confident as the season's gone along. And as Aaron Gordon's shooting regressed, Jokic didn't have to shoulder the load to the same degree. Jamal Murray got fully integrated into the system. All that stuff added together really helped them to get to where they are right now. So the Nuggets are just really rolling. And again, they're 10-12 in their last 12 games. Only 2 losses have actually come to the Thunder. Crazy enough. But they have a really nice set of games that's coming up for them as well. But then they hit this crazy stretch in January where they got the 76ers and the Boston Celtics in back-to-back games, and then take the 76ers again, and then also will have to play the Bucks in January as well. So it's going to be a really interesting month. This is kind of the rivalry month, and rival week is coming up, and you're going to get a chance to see a lot of key matches for the Nuggets. We're going to talk about that obviously another time, but just a really good game from the starters. Everybody took care of business. They did what they were supposed to do. The Denver Nuggets bench, 24 minutes for Christian Brown, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Zeke Naji, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Peyton Watson, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Had really good defensive possessions on Miles Bridges as well. Got some good plays out of him. Reggie Jackson, great game. 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists for Reggie Jackson last night. And then Julian Strawther, 13 minutes, 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Now, they lost their minutes, but they lost their minutes because they were up so much at one point in time at the end of that third. And then in the fourth quarter, gave up a little bit of a lead. That's why they only ended up winning by 18. But all the way around, it was just a really dominant game for the Nuggets. And especially after that loss versus the Thunder that happened, I believe, on Saturday or Friday. I think it was Friday. The Nuggets, they were on the second night of a back-to-back. That was their 8th back-to-back of the season already. And they also had no AG that game. It was just a constellation of a lot of different things that affected the overall outcome of that game. And OKC, they were coming out, letting people know that they're here, they're trying to win, and they believe that they're the better team that night. And they did. They took care of business. And I think that the Nuggets got a little bit of a seasonal wake up, not like a long-term wake up at all. But it was just a good bounce back game for them in a spot that is necessary, especially when you're at home. You just don't want to be dropping a lot of games from home. They've already lost 3. They lost 1 to the Houston Rockets, 2 to OKC now, especially by that buzzer beater from Shai Gilgeous. You just want to make sure you're taking care of home court advantage. But what I love to see is, excuse me, the connection between Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter, Nikola Jokic. They're all kind of playing in sync right now. And especially over the last month or so, they've just been able to put together a lot of really good, solid performances. And they're figuring out the tone and the flow to the year. Michael Porter and Jokic have played a lot of games together this year. Michael Porter, Nuggets are 24-11. Porter's played 35 games this year. Jokic has played 34. Had a game where he missed due to a little bit of maintenance, I believe, to his back. And that was the second night of a back-to-back. But he's played in every other game this year. And the Nuggets have, even though they've had no Jamal Murray for 14 games this year, they've had to deal with that Aaron Gordon missed a couple games here and there. I mean, they've had to mitigate some injuries for sure. But for the most part, when these players have been on the court together, they played really well. So far in the year, the Jokic-Porter two-man game, 34 games together, 912 minutes. They have 123 offensive rating with a 110.6 defensive rating with a plus 0.12.4 net rating. The Jokic AG minutes, a 121.1 offensive rating, a 109 defensive rating, plus 12.1. And then also the KCP minutes. That's the most minutes between any duo on the team, 967 minutes, 124.1 offensive rating, a 110.7 defensive rating for a plus 13.5. The Jokic Murray minutes, again, only 531 minutes, which is still a lot, but almost less, half almost of what the KCP Jokic minutes are. A 126.1 offensive rating and a 108.2 defensive rating and a plus 17.8 net rating on the year. It's insanity. Now, again, that probably won't stay that way throughout the rest of the season, but it's just a good mark for where they're headed. And then, I just really am really excited for how they're continuing to pick up steam and how they're doing it. That's the important thing, because early on in the year, Jokic's usage rate, which we're talking about in second 2, was mad high. I'm talking about like top 6, top 5. And ever since that point, he's really taken a dive in his usage, but his efficiency's gone up. Now, definitely the two are related, but Jokic really had about 3 games where he wasn't shooting well, and then everything since that has been really good. But we're going to talk about that in segment 2. The Denver Nuggets, again, won 10 of their last 12. Joker in particular has had an interesting stretch to the season. We're going to talk about all that and more in segment 2. But y'all, PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sport. And if you, against the numbers, instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than a 2 to 6 player stat projection and watch the winnings roll in. Basketball season, y'all, in full swing. We're in 2024, really important time of the year. This is a great opportunity to get combo projections on the season. So we'll take LeBron James, 3s over, Jamal Murray, 3s over. You want to get Giannis dunks, want to get Embiid points. This is a great way to do that and to tap in. You can test your skills on PrizePicks basketball season. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. PrizePicks, it's really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So we are back here with Locked On Nuggets with your host, Swiper. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Happy New Year to every single one of you. 2024 is here. 2023 was a special year. 2024, we're seeing if we can get a repeat in that success as well. So y'all, let's talk about Joker. So Joker, I would say, has had an interesting last 15 or so games this season. So Joker, if you remember, started the year off averaging basically 29, 13, 10 on like a 65 true shooting or whatever. And then he had those couple of games, the Rockets and the Clippers, where shooting fell off the face of the earth. Then he shot 4 of 12 versus the Warriors. And so people were kind of asking, well, is it because of efficiency that his shooting that his efficiency is going down? Is it random? Like, what's happening? What's this doing? But the funny thing is, the Denver Nuggets, in the last 15 games they've had Joker, 22 points a game, 11.7 rebounds, 8.4 assists. Interesting. That's a massive drop, seemingly, across the board in production. Well, take a look at this. The Nuggets are Jokic is shooting 54.4% from the field, 41% from 3, 87% from the line. And he's a plus 166. So 166, a plus 166 in the last 15 games. And while the Nuggets have been on this nice run in terms of winning these games, Joker's only averaging 21 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. But again, over the last 12 games, he's shooting 63% from the field. He's shooting 47% from 3 and 92% from the free throw line. And over the last 12 games, a plus 151. So here's the thing. What's happening? Joker, in maybe the funniest way, decided that he was not going to shoot. And then I watched on the Charlotte Hornets broadcast, because y'all know I like to watch, or some of you might not know, I like to watch the opponent broadcast. I want to hear what they're saying about their team and their perspective on the Nuggets. That way you're just kind of getting, throughout the year, basically 82 different viewpoints on the season. Chris Marlowe, Scott Hastings, Katie Wingy, Chris Dempsey, and Vic Lombard, they do a tremendous job. Obviously, been listening to them for many years. And what's so funny is the Charlotte Hornets broadcast, they were wondering why Joker wasn't shooting, and they were asking the question in the first quarter, oh man, we're 6 minutes through the first quarter. Joker, he hasn't taken a shot. What's going on with that? Okay, that's interesting. He's averaging 26 points a game, so, Obviously, he's shooting. So what's going on? Yo, in the second quarter at one point, Joker got a pass to him as he was going to the other direction towards the basket and literally almost in midair turned away from the basket and passed it out. And the Charlotte Hornets broadcast were like, oh, he's intentionally not shooting. And obviously they didn't really understand why. And y'all, the timeline was just irate. They were just wondering, why in the world is he choosing to do this? And then on top of that, well, the Nuggets are only tied 49-49 with the Charlotte Hornets. Why is he not shooting? But y'all, some of this is, I think that it's the Charlotte Hornets. He doesn't need to go nuclear to beat this team. He knows that. The team knows that. Jamal Murray, lead us in shots. Porter, take more shots. AG, take more shots. Whatever y'all need to do, go ahead. Yesterday, Joker shot the ball 7 times. He shot the ball 1 more time than KCP. He shot the ball 2 more times than Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray had 16 shots. Porter had 17 shots. They just weren't in a position for him to do that. But Joker didn't score his first basket till 43 seconds left inside of the second quarter. But as he were, the Denver Nuggets started off that third quarter. Jokic scored basically on 3 straight possessions, dominated inside of that quarter, scored 11 points in the quarter, didn't have a crazy amount of rebounds yesterday. Again, just didn't need to. Only had 11, only had 6 assists. He played 28 minutes. 28 minutes. Now, here's the side of this is for Joker right now, there's just no real reason for him to be increasing his usage and increasing his shot output just because right now the team is just on such a roll and everybody is kind of going back to this. It's obviously Joker at the head with Jamal Murray, but it's more egalitarian in the shot distribution just because this allows for the Nuggets to be able to tap in to who they actually are, which is a high passing, high assist team. And Jamal Murray subsequently, like Joker is taking his usage down. Jamal Murray's averaging 21.7 points a game in the last 12 games, 5.5 assists, 4.8 rebounds. Jamal Murray shooting 49% from 2, 48.6% from 3. 48.6%, 89% from the line. He's a plus 124 over the course of that stretch as well. And again, Jamal Murray didn't have this blunder that he had versus OKC. Prior to that, he has 6 straight 20-point games. So in the last 12, Jamal Murray has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, has 8 games where he scored over 20 or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 8 games. And his efficiency has been there. So, again, this is a strategic thing. Is that the entire team right now is trying to lock into what it does best, communicate, pass, and you help off of one another. Now, Porter last 12 games. Now, he's only averaging 14. He's actually shooting 42% from the field, 38% from 3, 78% from the line, but he's also a plus 152 over the last 12 games. So his shooting has kind of gone up and down a lot. But again, because they're all been on the court together, there's just so many things that you have to deal with on a possession-by-possession basis. And again, y'all, they got the Warriors coming up here on Thursday, and then they have a back-to-back where they're playing Orlando. So they're at Golden State, and then they're tapping into Orlando back in Denver, and then they got Detroit, and then Utah, and then the Pelicans. And then they go on a really, really, really interesting, really nice little road thing after they play the Pacers at home. So, again, I think that as everybody's kind of concerned, worried about the MVP stuff and the conversation, all that's legit. You got to be able to stat hunt to a degree. But at the same time is Joker versus high-level competition or whoever he needs to play against, he's going to do everything on the basis of what's required of him that day. And most of these games don't require him to turn into like MVP playoff level Joker because he's able to be able to mitigate what they're doing. And a lot of this is the Nuggets, they don't have a type of team where you have to dominate with like this crazy heavy shot profile just because they're mostly bent on connectivity, on passing and hunting for really high efficient looks at the rim and then wide open 3-point attempts. And then when they do get into the mid-range game, they're basically the best mid-range shooting team in the NBA as well. So shout out to them, 10 to last 12. In segment 3, we're going to talk about, can 2024 be a repeat of the 2023 success for the Denver Nuggets? We're going to talk about all that and more in segment 3. So, y'all, FanDuel, the NFL regular season, unfortunately, is wrapping up. The Denver Nuggets or Denver Broncos are out of the playoffs. But this is still a great time to get on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. So here we go. The app is so easy to use. There's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. What's going on, y'all? We are back for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. Thank y'all so much for being here today, y'all. Look. Here's the thing. The Denver Nuggets had the year. They had the year of years. They made the first seed. They had a 7-game lead over the Memphis Grizzlies. They didn't have much competition down the stretch of the year. They went 8-10, last 18 games, I believe. They go into the playoffs. People have all these questions about the team, about Joker. Is Jamal Murray a good enough second option? Can Porter's defense hold up enough? Is Aaron Gordon a good enough two-way player to be able to defend the likes of LeBron and KD and Jimmy Butler and all the rest of them? And they answer those questions emphatically with an absolute yes. The Denver Nuggets go 16-4 over the course of the entire playoff run. They win the NBA title in 5 games. Jamal Murray goes off for yet another great playoff run, another run of averaging over 25, 5 and 5. He becomes just the third player ever to average over 25, 5 and 5 on 39% from 3 and better than 90% from the line. Him, Steph Curry, Larry Bird. Nikola Jokic, first player ever. 30 points game, 13 rebounds, 9.5 assists, 63 true shooting. Jokic goes to the NBA Finals, averages 30, 14, and 7 on 67% true shooting from the field. Goes off. The entire team gets their flowers. Michael Malone gets their flowers. So going into this year, a lot of people had the Denver Nuggets as the prohibited favorite and still do. Some have the Boston Celtics. The recently acquired this last year, Drew Holiday. They got Derek White. They got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They got Kristaps Porzingis. They got Joe Mazzulla. They got the aura of the Boston Celtics home field advantage. All that stuff is leaning in their direction. So the question is, can the Denver Nuggets repeat their success of 2023? And I think that the next stretch of a couple of months a game in January and February is going to tell a lot of that story, namely because the competition is going to be there. Again, January 16th, you play the 76ers in Philly. January 19th, you play the Boston Celtics. On the 23rd, you play the Pacers. 25th, they play the Knicks. 27th, they play the 76ers again. On the 29th, they play the Bucks. The 31st, they play the Thunder. And then you get into February. You're at the Lakers, February 8th. At the Bucks, February 12th. At the Kings, February 14th. And then you're at the Warriors on the 25th of February. And then you got the Kings and the Heat on the 28th, 29th. And then March, Lakers, Suns, Celtics, Heat, Mavericks, Wolves, Suns, Timbs, Grizzlies. This is going to be a gauntlet of games that they have to go through. But the good thing is the team is experienced, the team is ready, and the team has already done it before. So I do think that this is prime opportunity for the Denver Nuggets to be able to get the momentum necessary to get back to the 1 seed should they choose to do so. But then on top of that, this is going to be a great opportunity to really set the record straight for the regular season that it wasn't just last year. We're on the way this year. Everything that we could ever want is right in front of us. Jamal Murray locking in. He's been healthy now. Michael Porter Jr. playing well. Aaron Gordon playing well. Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther, and Christian Brown. Calvin Booth has drafted those players at 21, 30, and 29. And they're all contributing to this team. Now, Zeke Nod and DeAndre Jordan, they're always trying to figure out that big man rotation a little bit. So they definitely got stuff to figure out with that. Backup point guard Reggie Jackson's been a revelation. The thing is, the Nuggets are in prime position because they're fully locked into who they are. And 2023 was a year where they got a chance to prove to the world that they're the best team in basketball. In 24, I do believe this is the ingredients they need to do it again. Last year was a special year. It was the best year in franchise history. And this is the season, I believe, that they can go out and they can let them know that a dynasty is on the way. And I think what's so incredible about what the Denver Nuggets were able to do is that they did it their way. They did it playing selfless basketball. They did it tapping into a mentality of how can we get there together? No one is above the other. We're all playing together. We're all locked into a system together. We're all locked into a culture, into an identity together. And because of that, it allows for them to play with such fluidity, such freedom. Y'all, one of the best things I love about this season is the fact that the Nuggets are bringing into town all these players that won championships with them last year. Bruce Brown will be here eventually. Ish Smith came back. They already rewarded Jeff Green. They're getting players that are coming back to Denver, and what they're doing is they're talking about their experience here. The crowd is showing them so much love. But Ish Smith the other day for Charlotte, the Nuggets players bombarded him with love, bombarded him with hugs. And you could just tell that there's such a positive and good feeling between the Nuggets and their former players. And you just quite simply do not get that in a lot of places, even after a championship. And what you're seeing is a culture that is being developed in such a way where people just honestly feel that there's so much to be thankful for what they're doing. And everybody feels like they have a part in it. And I love the fact that the Nuggets went on a 3-game skid and they immediately responded by going 10-2 in the next 12 games. And their ability to just be able to collect themselves and then be able to respond, y'all, it's everything. And this is the kind of stuff that teams are trying to find, that they're trying to build, an identity they're looking for. I mean, OKC having a phenomenal year. They have talked about, like, a part of the blueprint that we're trying to follow after is the Denver Nuggets because they're a homegrown. They drafted their core 3. They made a nice trade for a player in Aaron Gordon, and they found a way to make it all work together. Like, the Nuggets are becoming the blueprint. Kevin Garnett the other day on his show with Paul Pierce, they talked about the idea that the NBA as a whole is kind of changing what it's doing because now players are taking on the Joker's role. Like, the Joker era is upon us because now it's about, can you get players at the top of the key playing like 4 out? Can you get the DHOs? Can you get the handoffs? Can you get the spacing? Can you get the cuts to the basket? Do you have a big that's able to facilitate and pass and play make? Because if you don't, it's not that it's bad per se, but it helps you significantly if you can have a playmaking big. You look at Embiid, better playmaker this year. You look at the fact that you got Şengün, you got Sabonis. There are a lot of players that are subsequently, even if they were already naturally good at it, because Jokic is at the epicenter of the league, the best player in the world, and he just did this on the way to a championship. The NBA is now building its identity kind of around what the Nuggets are doing, similar to what they did with the Warriors, and the similar before that, what they did either with the Lakers or whoever else was kind of dominating, or the Spurs, when they were dominating over the course of those runs. This is the position that the Nuggets are putting themselves in, is that they're able to say that we have a formula, we have an identity, and we have a culture that we're all willing to commit to. And the more we do it together, the more we lock in together into this process, it just aids us all that much more and the collective identity and just completely dominating the field. So I do think 24 is going to be a great opportunity for them. Now, do they win a championship? That's all up to them. That's going to all be up to health. This is going to be a great Western Conference to go through. OKC, Lakers, Timberwolves, Clippers, Suns. There's talent everywhere. In the Eastern Conference, you got the Celtics, you got the Bucks, you got the 76ers with this new revamped kind of identity and lineups they have and Nick Nurse's system. And then obviously you got the Miami Heat, who are the Miami Heat. They always show up every single year. So it's going to be really exciting, y'all. A shout out to y'all, Swiping Gang. Happy Swiping Gang, the Locked On community. If you're here because you love Matt Moore, you love Adam, and you love DNVR, everybody, all of you make the Locked On Nuggets community so great, y'all. So shout out to y'all. We'll be back here tomorrow with another episode. Y'all, I can't wait. Denver Nuggets playing the Warriors on Thursday. A lot to tap into. I'll see you on the other side.